A local city is losing multiple workers. Why is the question? I'm Chris Knowles and I have the answer to that question coming up.
Plus, one dead, others hurt after shots ring out in a Boonville apartment complex. Now police need your help finding the person who pulled the trigger.
They call it a vital part of the Duck Hill community. Now folks are upset that the town leaders decided to sell it. We take a look at what could have come from this old school.
Governor Reeves makes a trip to New Jersey to honor those who helped pave the path for civil rights for all.
Dozens of trophies won, considered one of the world's best golfers ever, but guess what? He's only 9. Story from South Mississippi you don't want to miss later on this half hour.
And fall camp is beginning to wrap up as we are now 11 days away from the first game of the season for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Hear more from the Bulldogs and the Rebels as they are getting ready for the 2024 season coming up in sports. WTVA 9 News at 6 starts right now.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WTVA 9 News.
Good evening, I'm Craig Ford.
And I'm Emily Leonard. Thank you for joining us for WTVA 9 News at 6.
Resignations and retirements, a local city losing department heads and managers.
And it's putting quite the squeeze on resources. WTVA's Chris Knowles is live in Winona to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, this turnover is concerning for this small city. 5 employees have left since July. Now, 2 of the 5 employees no longer employed with the city resigned. Prosecutor Payne Horan and City Clerk Monica Turner have both left their post. Mayor Aaron Dees tell me the board forced Turner to resign. I talked to one alderwoman about the turnover.
I don't know a lot of things that is going because they does things behind and been meeting behind closed doors, you know, because when you get there, it's already been made up. Because the situation with the clerk, that was already made. I had no clue or no idea. They already had made. They already had appointed the person that they were going to put in her place.
We've also learned the city water and sewer superintendent retired, and the fire chief, Brad Mooneyham, is retiring after serving 25 years. The mayor says he was out sick at the time that Monica Turner was forced to resign. He wasn't happy with the decision, he tells me. Now, the mayor is currently out of town right now, but he did give me this statement via text. And he says, life goes on. People come, people go. Retire or resign. That's just life. And right now, inside of the city board meeting, which is just inside of back there right now, that's where the fire chief is making his retirement. Reporting live here in Winona, Chris Knowles, WTVA 9 News.
Live at 6:03, we check in with Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhan, and I'm hoping for good things because when I get home tonight, it's another walk.
How far do you walk?
I don't know. It's as far as my wife tells me to go.
That's what I thought. Until
Unless
she
I get
said
tired
stop.
and I sit on a bench or sit somewhere and she finishes it.
It's more than I'll do tonight, though.
Well, I mean, if you're just sitting there for a little bit, it's a pretty nice evening. There's no precipitation, storm track, Doppler radar, dry. We do need some rainfall, but it's just not coming really the next few days, unfortunately. And so for outdoor activities, it's a good thing as we are clear at this instant as of 6:03. 86 right now in Tupelo. Columbus coming in 87 degrees, down already to 82 Corinth, 81 degrees up in Memphis, though 90 our warmest spot in Houston. But compared to yesterday at this time, we're all down about 3 or 4 degrees. So certainly today in the afternoon, we weren't quite as warm. And I think that, again, gets us heading down more effectively for tonight as temperatures drop slightly more quickly than they did last night. So we're not saying jacket territory if you're going out this evening, but you'll certainly notice that breeze has a little bit more of a cool feel to it. 74 by 9, and we'll go back to about 69 degrees as we look toward 11 o'clock and into the upper 50s for some spots by early tomorrow morning. We'll walk city by city at those low temperatures and where they kind of come into play here. We'll also look at the slimmest of rain chances and what that could actually bring us over the next week. Coming up here in a couple minutes.
Boonville police try to find the person who shot and killed a teenager at an apartment complex. 18-year-old Demarion Calvert of Tupelo died after being shot at the August Circle Apartments in Boonville, not far from Northeast Mississippi Community College. Another man is out of the hospital after being wounded in that shooting. We found a couple of people concerned about what happened.
There's been quite a bit of disturbance going on over here since I've been living here, but most of it is on the back side down there. It's scary. It's really nerve-wracking. And like I say, that's not the first one that we've had. They've had stabbings down back there, and then they've had shootings.
Just a little nervous, but I mean, you know, things are going to happen no matter where you live. But I just know things can happen, and I try to keep me, the dog, and my child safe.
A suspect's vehicle was found hours later on the east side of the city. You're asked to call Boonville Police if you can help solve the case.
A man who was on the run for a Columbus shooting is now behind bars. Police charged Jerome Abrams with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Officers Sunday morning went to a home on 17th Street North for a shots fired call. Police found a man had been shot in the arm. He was taken to the hospital, treated, and later released.
We now know the name of the man found dead in Alcorn County over the weekend. He's 42-year-old Richard Johnson. Someone found Johnson's body at a wooded area south of Corinth around sunset Sunday. Coroner Jay Jones says he does not suspect foul play, but he's still investigating.
It's a decision that has folks in Duck Hill frustrated. The city council voted to sell an old abandoned school that people living there called the nucleus of the community.
Disappointed. Over the years, this town has, continuously gone down.
The EPA has worked the past 6 years to create a redevelopment plan of the old Benford High School. It would be converted into a multi-use facility. However, how the property will be used will now be determined by the buyer. One woman who has a deep connection to the school says she's been heavily involved in keeping this building maintained.
We're still there where we cleaned it out, boarded it up to keep people out. Didn't happen, and I just can't stand the thought of the building not being used for what it should be used for this community. It can be so much for Duck Hill, so much.
The total cost of getting everything fixed up and restored would be around $10 million. Now, we tried reaching out to the mayor and other elected officials as to why they rejected the EPA's offer. They did not return our phone calls.
We missed out on the severe weather over the weekend, but some in Greenville, not so fortunate. Look at this. The storm blew down a tree at the front door of this home. The tree also took down power lines, leaving the woman who lives here trapped in her house with no electricity. Also, the storm pretty much took out a building at the city's airport.
High-profile speakers are expected on stage tonight in Chicago to lay out their personal endorsements for Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign. Right now, we're giving you a live look inside the United Center. Day 2 of this year's Democratic National Convention well underway. Former President Barack Obama, First Lady Michelle Obama, and others are set to rally around the Harris Walls ticket tonight in Chicago. We'll have a recap of today's events later on tonight, coming up on WTVA 9 News at 10. Meanwhile, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign submitted signatures to gain ballot access in 3 more states, including Arizona, Alabama, and Montana. The campaign announced Friday it submitted 110,000 signatures to election officials in Arizona. Independent candidates need just 42,000 to qualify in the state. Kennedy is currently on the ballot in 19 states.
New at 6, a local nonprofit thrives and serves its community by making sure no one goes hungry. And it couldn't do that without the help of city leaders. Leaders in Fulton help the city's food pantry host each food giveaway in a big way. They offer a facility and the utilities that come with it and no charge. The volunteers say they are inspired.
We're fortunate to have the city provide us with a building and our utilities. So, we're a 100% volunteer organization. We're a nonprofit, but we're just trying to serve the need of our county.
The Fulton Food Pantry serves more than 300 families each month.
A local university will discuss its future plans with food insecurity programs, as well as celebrate all that it has accomplished so far. Mississippi State University is holding an event this week to celebrate its Fish Innovation Lab. This lab supports and links research partners to help with poverty and improve nutrition with fish and other aquatic foods. It's received a 5-year extension in 2023. MSU leaders will reflect on the success of that program as well as look ahead to its future. The event will happen from 2 to 4 Thursday at the College of Veterinary Medicine.
We're giving you a live look outside at 611 in one of the entrances to Mississippi State University. It's a nice, clear evening, but the cooler weather we've experienced looks like we won't have it much longer.
It is back to school time for students at ICC in Fulton. Students had their second day back for fall classes today. Nice day for that. These students returned to campus for a full day of instruction. More than 5,000 students enrolled at ICC for the fall semester.
At 6, a new Freedom Trail marker at Atlantic City's Boardwalk Hall in New Jersey honors the 60th anniversary of a pivotal moment in the civil rights movement. In 1964, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party traveled to the Democratic National Convention at Boardwalk Hall to advocate for an integrated delegation. New Jersey is the first and only state outside of Mississippi to host an official Mississippi Freedom Trail marker. In attendance, Governor Tate Reeves and California Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She was just 24 at the time of the 1964 DNC. Mississippi's governor thanked the city for preserving the shared history of the two regions.
Now, your WTVA Severe Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Matt Laubach.
Just loving this weather. It's so nice. Just want to step outside, do something.
Yes.
Sit on a bench like Craig would.
But just breathe in some of the air where you don't feel like it's harder to breathe because there's enough oxygen in it. The moisture's not in it. So, you know, for every breath, believe it or not, you take in a little more oxygen when there's less moisture, less water vapor in those breaths. And outside at this instant here, we have those conditions looking pretty good right now in the Fulton area as we have those clear skies looking back up toward Fulton, toward the north there. And the grass starting to look a little more brown in spots. If you noticed it, I mean, I certainly have. We've been dry. The air is dry. The rain chances are fairly sparse, but that does make for a pretty nice and almost a hint of a fall-like feel to the weather forecast this evening. Once again, our hour forecast goes to 84 degrees as we look toward around 7. We're looking at 74 by 9 and 69 by 11, taking those temperatures down into the upper 50s some spots by tomorrow morning. On the average, we'll say about 61. 83 though by noontime and 88 for tomorrow afternoon. If you missed that picnic lunch type weather today, you have another chance again for tomorrow on those northerly winds and the clear skies. Rain chances are basically flatline over the course of the next 5 days. There's just not a lot out there to work with. And if we go beyond that and look over the course of the next 7, our two main projections have what? 0.02 of an inch in Iuka there as our highest rainfall total. Takeaway should be expect that drought to expand in a lot of spots, and unless something changes dramatically, we're probably heading toward more of those burn bans in this fall season, unfortunately. Here's a look at the wide shot there. As you can see, it's not just us, it's the entire region devoid of rainfall or really much cloud cover. They do have a little bit of cloud cover coming in from the north. We're watching, though, a weak easterly wave down to the east coast that could slide in and bring us a little bit of cloud cover by the latter portion of this week. We'll look at that in more detail here in a minute, but that's about what we're dealing with, a little more cloud cover. 61 tomorrow morning. We'll go 83 by noon. I said we would take a look at those temperatures for tomorrow morning, even though I jumped ahead to noon. Let's go ahead and show those real quick. Coming to 57 for that low temperature in Ripley, 56 in Oxford, our cool spots, but I mean, nobody above around 62 for the low, and we should be almost 10 degrees warmer than that. We're not quite the record territory, but we're within kind of striking distance with upper 80s for highs for tomorrow. I mentioned that little wave. Notice how the clouds kind of spill in from the east early Thursday. That little increase of cloud cover, and Storm Tracker tries to say sprinkles with more of a question mark. You know how someone says that, like, maybe? That's kind of what this is looking at there. I think what it's taking and showing is, in fact, we'll have some clouds. But if you see moisture on Thursday, you better pick up a lottery ticket that day as well. And we're not expecting much more than an increase of clouds. But Storm Tracker is aggressive and positive, and that's the kind of positive thinking we need. Temperatures will increase in a warmer way as we go beyond that into the weekend with mid-90s back by then. And yes, Craig and Emily, 100 degrees, that high temperature forecasting by next week, because the dry air helps those temperatures to be more variable and really hot as we look ahead.
Matt, thanks so much. Just 11 days till game day at the Vaught and at Davis-Wade Stadium. Jason Williams shares how players feel about the football season. That's ahead on WTVA 9 News at 6.
Now, WTVA 9 Sports with Jason Williams.
Good evening and welcome back to WTVA 9 Sports. I'm Jason Williams. 11 more days till college football is underway for everyone across the country. And the Bulldogs are in preparation for game one, looking to see who's going to be stepping up into that linebacker role. The last 2 seasons, that position has been held down by Bookie Watson and Jet Johnson, who led the SEC in tackles in back-to-back seasons. And now it's time for some new guys to step up in that role. A couple potential names: John Lewis, who is entering his junior year with Mississippi State. The team also picked up South Carolina transfer Stone Blanton this offseason. Last season, Stone collected 52 tackles with 1 sack, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. And Lewis believes that anyone in that linebacker room is due for a big season.
It's hard to say, honestly, because I feel like all the linebackers that we've been preparing, and I feel like we all can have a breakout year. Anybody, like any of them, I can't just name one.
Last season, Lewis totaled 20 tackles and 3.5 for loss, so he's going to be looking to step up for Mississippi State this year. And over in Oxford, they're getting ready for game one against Furman University. Last season, as a secondary, the group collected 12 interceptions on the season, and half of that from that group has since left the Rebels. And one of the new transfer defensive backs believes that this year's group has plenty of guys who can make a play.
Man, it's a lot of plays that's going to be made in that room. I mean, no matter who you got on the field, you know, it's always going to be a playmaker out there. And it's always going to be 2 playmakers out there at one time, you know what I'm saying, in the cornerback room, but the safety room as well.
Brandon Turnage has spent the last 3 seasons at the University of Tennessee, and he started a total of 6 games while there and tallied 48 tackles, 3 for loss, and 1 interception. A young golf prodigy has tasted more success before the age of 10 than many who have ever even picked up a club. With more than 90 trophies to his name, 9-year-old Charlie Maggie has solidified himself as one of the top junior players in the history of Mississippi golf. He was just 3 years old when he first learned the game, and he started golfing competitively when he was 6. Now, he's at the golf course 5 to 6 days a week, where he practices for up to 4 hours. The past Christian native just finished in the top 10 of the 2024 World Championship at Pinehurst.
It's cool to see him in his element. I mean, you saw when he's out there, he's having a blast, and that's something that you don't see. You see a lot of 9-year-olds that are just doing it because they were told to do so, and he's not that. He's just out there being a kid having a blast.
It's been pretty cool. I've learned a lot of things. That's why I'm here today. It feels like I'm going to be like a pro one day, and I'm playing where they are.
Charlie, over the weekend, advanced to the 3rd round of the drive, chip, and putt nationwide juniors competition in Texas. If he wins there, he will compete for the championship at Augusta.
We'll see you tonight at 10.